No sleepovers. Nope, not even with family members. She will never be left alone with a male. I don't care if you're the grandpa, the uncle, the cousin. I won't treat my daughter differently than I treat my son. For instance, like me letting my son go out late, but not my daughter because it's too dangerous for a woman. I'm just gonna treat them both the same. Secrets will not be kept from your parents. And if you're one of those people now saying, I'll give you candy when your mom's not here, just don't tell her, that's the quickest way to never see us again.
What's good, YouTube? This is KB LaFleur. You can call me KB. Welcome back to another video, man. We got something pretty good, man. We got this mother, man, that is pretty much breaking down, man. She's just one of those mothers, right? Now, you know, she's one of those extra mothers. Let's just put it that way, right? She's one of your extra mothers. Some can say it's good. Some can say it's bad because, well, I would say she's an overprotective mother. Now, like I said, in most situations is good. In a lot of situations is bad, right? But I would say in most situations is good because, hey, you know what? You're preparing yourself for the worst and you're just hoping for the best, right? But you got to prepare yourself for the worst. And that's what she is doing right now. Once again, there are some things that I disagree with and there are some things that I do agree with, right? But we're about to go ahead, man. We're about to see what she got to say about this. I want to know, and this is for the women, man, that watch my channel, because I got a lot of women, men that watch my channel. How do you feel about this mother's idea of being a protective mother, right? Do you think she's doing too much? Do you think she's doing too little? I don't know. But before we get into this, man, do me a huge favor, leave me a like, leave me a comment, and leave me a subscribe.
No sleepovers. Nope, not even with family members. She will never be left alone with a male. I don't care if you're the grandpa, the uncle, the cousin. I won't treat my daughter differently than I treat my son. For instance, like me letting my son go out late, but not my daughter because it's too dangerous for a woman. I'm just gonna treat them both the same. Secrets will not be kept from your parents. And if you're one of those people now saying, I'll give you candy when your mom's not here, just don't tell her, that's the quickest way to never see us again. She doesn't have to kiss you, hug you, sit on your lap, or anything else just because you asked her to and because you're a relative and haven't seen her in a long time. She doesn't have to respect you if you don't also respect her. As a child, she still will have opinions, emotions, and she's allowed to feel a certain way. We will take mental health days when needed, and she's allowed to express herself and learn to regulate her emotions. We're not
Okay, now it's a little much to unpack, but towards the end of that, right? Towards the end of that, I'm like, okay, now she's doing a little too much, right? Now she's doing a little too much. She says we're going to take mental health days, right? She's saying that, hey, well, you know what? My children has no boundaries. My children can literally do what they want to do. The fact that she said, hey, well, you know what? My child does not have to respect you if you don't respect the child. Well, once again, man, the respect level for a child and an adult is going to be very different, right? And this is where sometimes you have these overprotective parents, man, that sometimes tend to be more childish than the kid, right? Raising the kid in a worse way, like raising just one of those children, right? Where a lot of times these mothers just can't see their children doing wrong. I mean, the fact that you really sat up here and say you don't have to respect. And see, here's the thing, right? There's a lot of times, man, where I grew up, right? I grew up in a community, right? Where a bunch of, I got a bunch of uncles and a bunch of aunties. Sometimes they came off disrespectful, but the second I open my mouth, or if I decided to talk back, or if I decided to be slick, guess what? Everybody's on my neck. Everybody is on the child's neck, because once again, there is just a certain respect level. There's a certain respect level. Even there was times, man, where I remember one time, man, going right out. We call it a tabernacle. Y'all may call it a church. I'm sitting over here in the bathroom brushing my hair. Right? Not brushing my hair, combing my hair, because this is when I was growing my hair out. And this was years ago. I was in high school, but generally, sometimes I used to comb out my hair, and sometimes I may leave like little hair right in the sink. Now, this time I didn't do it, right? I did not do it whatsoever. I made sure for a fact I did not do it. And they decided to, one of my uncles, right? We call him Pops because he's just that old, right? I want to say he's probably in his 70s, but he had called me out and he was like, I mean, yo, man, you left some hair in the sink. I told him that wasn't me. So they come back and he said, yes, that was you. And I'm like, yo, that was not me, right? That was not me. Here come my uncles coming out of nowhere. And what? So you sit up here saying that he's lying? I mean, like, bro, what are we doing here? Right? But you just end up having to eat that. And guess what? Hey, and once again, some people might say, well, that's bad. That's gaslighting. Yeah. It is gaslighting. That's gaslighting like hell. Right? But at the end of the day, man, once again, there's still a certain respect level. There's still a certain respect level. Now, it's not to the point where, it's so disrespectful where it's like, okay, he doesn't get an opinion. He doesn't get to speak up for himself. As you get older, of course, parents, your uncles, your aunties, at least in my community, right, when I was growing up, they allowed you, as you got older, they allowed you to get a little leeway, get a little room to be slick sometimes, be able to, I wouldn't even say be slick, but be able to voice your opinion. Because a lot of times, at least once again, when I was growing up, all of the black kids I was around, and all of my aunties and uncles, they will check you, right? They will check you even when you are disrespectful, even in high school or middle school. But once again, they'll allow you to once again have an opinion. We have parents like this, and this is what you're starting to see a lot of, right? You're starting to see a lot of women, man, who are from the ages of freaking 18 all the way up until 30, until 35, 36, 37 years of age, who are sitting over here having the same kind of mindset, who are allowing their children to run amok, who are allowing their children to do whatever they want to do, disrespect people however they want to disrespect them. And it's just, it just shows how bad our society is. You have kids raising kids. It's just a fact. People, have y'all not been seeing over the years, man, how bad it is in these school systems, where in middle school and high school, especially high school, all of these kids sitting over here fighting their teachers, disrespecting their teachers? Y'all see where that stuff is coming from. It's coming from the household. It's coming from the home. It's coming from the parent. Because you have parents like this who are just going to excuse the kids' behavior at a young age, whether they're just having fun, whether they're just children, they're going to grow out of it. They don't grow out of it, right? They'll grow into it, and it gets worse, and it gets to the point where you're not going to be able, it's going to end up being too late. And you just pretty much just raise the demon, right? You just raise the demon. So please don't have this kind of mindset. It's back. Now, granted, I give it to her, she's saying that I don't care, man. Hey, you uncle, freaking granddad, dad, yada, yada, whatever, man. My child is not going to be sitting on your lap and this, that, and the third. I'm just wondering, man, how connected is she with her family, right? Because I mean, to be doing all of that, right? I mean, once again, is it kind of weird? Yeah, to some degree, that's why. But I mean, for the most part, what grandchild hasn't sat on their grandfather's lap? I'm just being honest with you. What grandson has not sat on their grandfather's lap? We all did that as a child. Now, once again, I get what she's trying to say, that, hey, well, it only takes one cousin to sit over here and cause years worth of pain and trauma. And I understand that. That's why I can't even really bark on it too much, just because the fact that, let's just say, hey, if it does happen, that kid is going to be messed up her whole life. That's something that she has to wear. So once again, that's why I said it's kind of iffy, right? One can say, man, you're doing a little too much. Then another can sit over here and say, well, you know what? I understand why she's doing what she's doing. But once again, I understand the first part. The second part, I can't agree with, because she's giving children way too much power, and that's what we are seeing today amongst a lot of your women. They're giving the kids too much power.
A public school system that makes you sit at a desk for 8 hours and not learn anything you really care about. We will always use holistic methods before we resort to Western medicine. I'm teaching her to stand up for herself, set boundaries, and say no. I'm not going to force her to share or force her to finish her plate of food. I won't ever talk poorly about myself in front of her, and I won't make comments about her appearance or her body image. I'm teaching her she can always come to me and never has to hide anything. As a mom, I'm not always right, and I make mistakes, and I'll own up to it and apologize. Nothing will ever be just because I said so. I'll have legitimate reasons. We're choosing to travel with her even when it's hard as an infant and a toddler. It's worth making all the memories and experiences with our family. We already started saying daily affirmations together. I want her to know her worth and not ever look to others for validation.
I mean, like I don't know. It just makes me mad, especially with all that damn makeup. It just really grinds my gears. It really pisses me off, man, just seeing all of that. But also at the same time, it's just, once again, you have these new age parents, man, that allow their kids to have way too much freedom and allow the kids to do way too much, man. I mean, it's sad because these parents do not create boundaries, right? They do not create boundaries. I want them to feel like, they can come to me or whatever. They ain't gotta hide. I mean, I get it, right? I get it, but once again, for me, that's where I should be able to talk to my father. I should be able to talk to my mother. That's a fact, right? That's a fact. But you just can't, there are certain things, man, that you should be able to just leave to your best friends, to your, to your cousins, your sisters, your brothers, or whatever, right? To your uncles, right? But not everything has to be shared to your parents. I mean, that's where you start building rapport and relationships. That's where you have, that's my favorite uncle, yada, 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 whatever, right? And it's like, I just feel like with this type of mother, I feel like she's going to drive away a lot of cousins, a lot of family members, right? Especially a lot of cousins. I'm like, man, nobody want to freaking deal with that damn girl. Like, oh my gosh, why is she coming, man? Her mama is so this, her mama is so that. And I know for a fact, she is raising a snitch. So I'm telling you right now, for me as a cousin, I would not want her to come. I would not want her to come to a family reunion. I would not want her to come to a sleepover. I would not want to deal with her whatsoever, because she's going to be that kind of mother. And sometimes, man, you literally do more damage to a kid by sitting over here being a parent like this, right? Instead of just giving some leeway, just relax, right? Back the fuck up and just relax. But of course, we got to read the comments. Somebody says, coming from a man, she's smart FF, and that's a real mother. I'm not even trusting older kids around my kids. Somebody else says, I can't blame her, too much stuff happening to these babies. And once again, that's why I said it. I can agree with her to some degree. I can agree with the first part, and I can agree with her not wanting to have her kids in the school system, her not wanting to have these pretty much receiving these medical tactics or these medical remedies that are brought to you by the government, right? Nobody want to. They say, "Hey, man, we don't want to deal with that. We're going to do it the natural way." That's how we all should be, right? That's why I say I can agree with it. I disagree more than I agree with her, but there are a lot of things, man, that are very accurate, that are on point, that are necessary, that you have to agree with, right? That you literally have to agree with. And that's keeping the kids from out of the school system, right? Teach your own kids, teach them everything that they want to do. Have your own health remedies. And, once again, just being very protective, right? Trying to avoid, man, having to have long-term trauma. That's all I got to say. Somebody else says, coming from the woman who's using all the makeup to try to validate her worth, that's okay to protect your kids. I'm all for protecting your daughters, but there's overdoing it too. But damn, right? And that is a fact, right? So somebody else says, so no father, right? Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she is a single mother, because who wouldn't man wants to deal with that? Somebody else says, that's her business. Somebody else says, where's the problem? Protect your kids. Somebody else says, I don't blame her. You got to protect your kids from them predators out there. Somebody else says, someone really hurt her as a child and she has to do something. She thinks she can to protect her kids. And then somebody else says, I respect it. But going back to Red Page, she says someone really hurt her as a child. I think that too, right? Now that she brought that up, I think that too, right? For her to be able to for her to be doing all of this stuff, I honestly think, man, hey, something had to have happened to her as a child. So, I mean, hey, once again, man, I'm 50-50 with it. While I'm more on the, hey, I understand it. I understand it as in the sense of, once again, you don't want to sit over here and put your kids in a situation with other cousins, man, that's out here looking for some flesh, right? Also bringing the kids into the school, learning the government's way of teaching, and then sitting over here having to, sit over here and buy $300 for an asthma pump when you have, once again, people out there, right? I forgot where it's from, but they use the same inhalers that we use down here that you spend $200 for, you can get for like freaking $6 or $7, right? It's mighty crazy, right? It's mighty crazy, and it does the exact same thing, but they're going to overprice it over here, right? So I mean, it's just plenty of stuff, right? It's just plenty of stuff. But man, listen, guys, y'all let me know down below, how do y'all feel about this, man? Do me a huge favor, leave me a like, leave me a comment, and leave me a subscribe.